please forgive me.
You about to call me masculine? No.
Previously on Vulcan Soapbox.
A study was done with infants where an obstacle was placed between the infant and the mother. The boy infants would try to knock over, climb, or move the obstacle, and the female infants would cry. So the boys would try to problem solve, and the girls would just vocalize their distress. We see it in infants, where boys are problem solvers and girls just want to hear, they want to be heard that they are not okay right now. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're on Patreon listening to this, you've heard us say over and over again that if you go to your man with anything, his first instinct is going to try to problem solve. So if you are just venting, it needs to be stated, hey babe, I'm just venting. I'm fucking going through it and I need you to have a with me. Not meaning
I
that.
have a question. So we're all in agreement that patriarchy is saying that basically men rule the world, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the question was, do we think that that's the best system, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, to which I said yes. Okay, so I think it is the best system, basically because, sorry ladies, but traditionally speaking, it's embedded in us. You know, the things that move mountains, the things that make things happen are, by definition, the things that we define as masculinity, not femininity. And when it comes to decision making, when it comes to ultimately carrying out those decisions, just from a mental aspect, we look to men as the more capable creature as it pertains to that. Now, is there a downside to this? Yes. But essentially, it's embedded in every last one of us. And I think it's the best because we are really living in a world where that system is getting shaken. And now we have conflict even with minor things like dating. You know, we have conflict with, we have conflict. And I think it's because that system is being altered. And
Yeah.
I hate to say things like that because it puts women in a position of, I guess, insubordination. However, what works, and what does not. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I guess the way I would answer, I would say the reason I say yes because I haven't seen a clear example of a matriarchal system that's competing and thriving for resources and power. So I don't have a good example where a matriarchal system would be better than what we already have. So that's one of my reasons why.
Yeah, I'd have to go along. I mean, so you only have two types of systems in this situation. You have the patriarchal or the matriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
What we're told historically is there have been a couple matriarchal systems at some point in time. We don't know very much about them because they didn't write much down and they didn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a winning system. And that's to Tracy's point. They've done a lot of studies on these topics with women and men and baby girls, baby boys. They've done studies where they'll put obstacles in front of baby girls and baby boys. And they'll have the moms call out to the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And when the girls have obstacles in the way of getting to their mother, they'll cry.
Yeah.
The babies. And when the boys have obstacles in getting to their mother, the boys will knock the barriers over, will try to climb over the barriers. Boys are natural problem solvers. That's in our genetics to be a problem solver. They've done studies on women and men. I think it was like 17 or 19 different characteristics. And what they said was that women outscored the men on pretty much almost all of them. The only two that men tend to be outscore women, and this has a lot to do with how society's built, is men tend to be more confident than women are, especially until they get, especially in the younger ages. Men are just naturally more confident, more resolute about their place and what needs to be done, and then also they're better strategists.
Yeah, I want to speak to that. That was actually in the Harvard. I got it right. The Harvard Business Review. They was trying to figure out why more women are not in leadership positions, and then women actually score higher. What was it? 9 out of 10 or 11 out of 13. Women score higher than men in 11 out of the skill sets that they tested the men and women for. And what Vulcan just said, it was two things that stood out. It was two things that the women didn't score higher than. It was the two capabilities. One was develop strategic perspective and technical personal expertise. Those two things that women didn't score higher than men. I just want to give it a source.
And so those have a major impact in building a civilization.
Yeah.
And making it run. That strategy and that confidence to do so. Then you get to the physical parts about, before we had modern technology with machines, back when it might take all day to wash clothes, walk into the river or the lake where there's lions and tigers and bears and crocodiles and stuff like that. The world was not a safe place like it is now. You had Genghis Khan conquering everything around them. You have, lions and tigers I mentioned before. And to work the land, just hand grip alone, hand strength alone to be able to work the land with tools. Mm-hmm. Ladies didn't have those capabilities. They didn't have the strength to do it. So you had to have a man to do that stuff.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tracy. Go ahead, sure.
I mean, I hate to play devil's advocate here, but if I'm honest, although I agree that men should do it, I don't think it's because of an ability issue. I think it's y'all seen Game of Thrones?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And y'all know in the last season or whatnot, or a couple seasons, there was the queen that wasn't a queen. The princess, the one that, anyway, there was a queen that was a queen, and then there was the daughter, Daenerys, that was supposed to be the queen, and nobody was willing to let her do it. Mm-hmm. Nobody, none of the men could get with the program at all. It wasn't because she was incapable, because she was actually really brilliant. It wasn't even that. It was simply by nature, it's been designed that way, and it's been that way for so long that I think that women don't have a fair shot at it, period. I just I don't think they would fall in line.
Can you speak to the studies that I cited, like the first one about the babies? They had baby boys and baby girls. It's a study that was done where they put obstacles in front of the babies.
You know what? I could argue that and say that women don't have a propensity for violence. I could argue that and say that they would naturally do that. Okay, but how long did the baby cry? Did they give her enough time to come up with something else? I mean, there's hoes.
Well, so what they found out with this excellent questions, but the thing is that what they found out is that the boys, when they had obstacles to get into their mom, because they're trying to get to their mom. The mom's called them trying to get to their mom, the babies, boys and girls. The boys are going to try to do whatever they can to get to their mom, knocking an obstacle over, climbing over it. They're trying to figure it out. When the girls were faced with the obstacles, they would just cry.
See,
and this is before socialization, right? This is babies before socialization takes place.
Okay, so I can't cite quotes. I'm not good at that. However, this is what I'll give you. I'll look at it from another perspective. A boy was denied access to something that he wanted, so he destroyed everything in his path. That can simultaneously be a detrimental thing to the world around us. That is the nature of boys.
This thing right here,
you gotta go.
I don't know if we would disagree with that, but it's just as far as being a problem solver, what you need to have innovation.
Did he solve a problem, or did he run?
Well, yeah. If I'm trying to get to my mom, I mean, if I'm a baby, my mom is my food source. Mm-hmm. So again, you got to think about that. If we're on the Serengeti, we got to get food. Is that boy going to get the food more successfully percentage-wise, or that girl?
So if the only measurement that we're going to take is whether or not he got the food, then sure. But if the baby sat there, the little girl child cried long enough, and then she really got hungry, how do we know that she wouldn't have went around those obstacles, that she wouldn't have managed to sustain that life
Let me speak to that.
and still get to her destination?
Let me speak to that. Right there, because you bring up a really good point, and again, that's an excellent point. But again, in the world of survival, time is meaningful. So if she cries and then goes around, and the boy just goes around, who do you want leading the charge? When time is a resource. Time is a resource.
I mean, I'm just.
We'll get Derek in there. Go ahead, Tracy. I want Derek in there, right?
Listen, I'm not into this. Go ahead.
This is one of those. Please forgive me, Tracy. Please forgive me.
You about to call me masculine?
Because here are the facts, and we're fighting them. We're fighting them,
It's
I
not fight, it's a debate.
no, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to pick my words clearly, so I don't want to offend anyone, especially you, Tracy. I don't want to do that.
Go ahead.
No,